It looks like the Avengers Doomsday cast is not done being announced just yet. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So today I am talking about how the cast of Avengers Doomsday, which got 27 big names announced the other day, is not done. An article dropped on Hollywood Reporter indicating that the announcements for the cast aren't done yet. Sources are indicating they could be adding more, though we don't know when or how many. This does make sense considering some of the big name Marvel heroes and actors were left out of that announcement livestream, most notably like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange, and many others. The MCU is one of the biggest franchises ever, and so there's a lot of big name actors and big name characters who are not included in Avengers Doomsday as of right now. However, I don't think they're done yet. In fact, I'm doing a prediction video ranking these actors slash characters by how likely I think they are to show up in Doomsday. Before I get into this though, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below what actors you think are going to be added to this cast by the time it's all said and done. And of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell to help me reach my goal of 150,000 subscribers here on the channel. I mean, quite a bit. But I got some unique tiers ready to go. This will be a fun one. Let's dive in. All right, so the tiers I have are 100% joining the cast, good chance they show up, maybe a cameo, saving for Secret Wars, ? And no shot. I've got about 40 or so of the biggest actors that play prominent characters in the MCU that have not been announced for Doomsday yet. These actors are not confirmed to be in the movie. Some of them have been reported to show up, but none of these people are officially in Avengers Doomsday as of recording this video. So this should be fun. These are randomized. I did put Tom Holland's Spider-Man at the beginning because he is the biggest name that was missing, but the rest are fully randomized. Without further ado, let's begin. The first up, like I said, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Peter Parker himself. I know this is a hot topic right now. Why the hell wasn't Tom Holland announced? My take on this is they intentionally left him out of the announcements because he's got a Spider-Man movie coming out only a couple months after Avengers Doomsday hits theaters. And so the Russos probably sat down and thought, you know what? Let's save Spidey for that because Spider-Man can show up in Secret Wars. In fact, that's what I'm putting him in. I think Spider-Man will end up showing up in Avengers Secret Wars because the first time we see him post No Way Home, when, you know, the spell was reset and no one remembered Peter Parker's identity. Obviously, people know Spider-Man, but no one knows Peter. I think the first time we see him after that is going to be in his own Spider-Man movie where he is the main character. They don't want to have to deal with that in an Avengers movie, so I think saving him for Secret Wars would make the most sense where he can play an even more prominent role there, maybe even headline that movie. I'm going to say Tom Holland saving for Secret Wars and putting him there right now. On top of that, filming Spider-Man 4 and Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. He's a busy man. Maybe he'll have a cameo in like a post-credit scene, but even then, I am going to say they're saving Tom Holland's Spidey for Secret Wars so that we can get a full movie out of him and then him in the big Secret Wars movie. Next, we've got Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. The last time we saw her was in The Marvels with Monica Rambeau and Miss Marvel. They were all in that film. However, at the very end, it was just her and Miss Marvel, if I recall correctly, on a ship. I'm going to say Captain Marvel. Honestly, there's a good chance she shows up in this movie. She's out in space last we saw her. I think there's a good chance she's going to show up. That doesn't mean she has a huge role, but I think she is one of the names that will end up being attached to this film. More on the specifics later, but she plays directly into another character who's actually been confirmed to be in this movie. Moving on, though, we've got Storm, Halle Berry Storm from the OG X-Men trilogy. The reason I included her and a couple other X-Men characters on here is because the Avengers Doomsday cast is actually filled with original Fox X-Men characters. I'm talking Ian McKellen's Magneto, Patrick Stewart's Professor X, James Marsden's Cyclops. So to have Halle Berry Storm in this film would not be out of the question. It seems like what I'm gathering, they're bringing back a lot of those original Fox X-Men to potentially kill them off in order to like pave the way for the new MCU era of X-Men. So I'm going to say Halle Berry Storm, I honestly think there's a good chance she shows up. Now, I don't think it would be like officially announced, but by the time the movie's out, I think it'll be sort of a Deadpool and Wolverine situation where she's not in any of the marketing, she's not announced to be in the film, but she ends up showing up much like, say, a Channing Tatum Gambit or a Wesley Snipes Blade did in Deadpool and Wolverine. They weren't confirmed, but they showed up anyway. I think she'll be a hidden supporting character because you can't have all those other OG X-Men and not have someone like Storm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to say good chance she shows up because I'm feeling pretty confident about that the more I think about it. Moving on, we've got Kingpin, this is the big bad villain of Daredevil Born Again, Daredevil's main, opponent throughout all 3 seasons of that show. And I'm going to come right out and say it. There's no shot he's going to show up in the Avengers movies. Those are a bit above his pay grade. I feel like Kingpin is sort of the main big baddie of the street level stakes of the MCU. And these Avengers movies are going to be multiversal as all get out. I don't see a place for Kingpin here. I'm going to say no shot that D'Onofrio's Kingpin shows up in these movies. Great villain, and I hope he continues to build and have a bigger role in the street level side of things beyond just Born Again. Maybe he shows up in Spider-Man 4, but in terms of Avengers movies, I would be stunned if D'Onofrio's Kingpin showed up. The same can be said for Wasp, played by Evangeline Lilly. I could be wrong here, but I believe she actually retired from acting. I'd have to look further into that. But regardless, I feel like Ant-Man, who we know is going to be in this movie, isn't necessarily going to have Wasp alongside him this time around. Why? Because he's got a daughter in Cassie Lang who's kind of filled that role, played by Catherine Newton. I feel like their relationship in Quantumania kind of set that new duo up for Ant-Man films, at least in appearances. I don't know if Wasp is going to be around anymore, so I'm going to say no shot that Wasp shows up. In fact, I think Kingpin technically has a better shot of showing up if indeed Evangeline Lilly is done acting. Moving on, we've got Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner. We haven't seen him since the final episode of Hawkeye when he kind of retired. It seems like he's basically fully passed on the mantle of Hawkeye to Kate Bishop. Jeremy Renner, what's that show called? Mayor of Kingstown. I know he's really busy filming that. I don't really want to see Hawkeye anymore. I think his time has come and gone, but we have to factor in the fact that he's an OG Avenger, one of the main 6 original Avengers. I look back at Infinity War Endgame. He wasn't in Infinity War, but he was the cold open of Endgame. He could definitely show up. I think he will be in at least Avengers Secret Wars. But in terms of this first Doomsday movie, I don't know. I'm going to put him in maybe a cameo because he could be like a post-credit scene or, have a really quick moment just to have an, OG6 member included in an Avengers movie. So I'll put maybe a cameo, but even then, I feel like they would be saving him for Secret Wars because everyone is going to be in Secret Wars. They're going to market that as like the biggest movie event of all time, probably. Next, we got Miss Marvel, who, like I said, we last saw with Captain Marvel. I'm going to say there's a really good chance she shows up in this movie. And so I'm going to put her right here alongside Captain Marvel. Those 2 characters, I really do believe will show up because of their direct tie to another character who vanished elsewhere and showed up in another universe with Beast. More to come in the video. Next, we got Jon Bernthal's Punisher. Oh man, I love me some Frank Castle, but I don't think there's any chance he shows up in an Avengers movie again. Much like my reasoning for Kingpin, I feel like this is above his pay grade. He's more of the street level vigilante, so I'm going to go no shot. But I'll put him at the top of no shot, because of the 3, I feel like there's the best chance he'd show up. But even then, there's not really room for a Punisher or a Kingpin in an Avengers movie. Save it for Daredevil Born Again. He's got the Punisher special coming up. Bernthal's a busy man. He's a working man. He's in all sorts of projects every year. So I feel like him showing up in an Avengers movie is just out of the question, unfortunately. Now, these next 2 names I'm talking about together because we got Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker and Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, the 2 Spideys who joined Tom Holland's Spidey in No Way Home and swing together in one of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen. I mean, it is nostalgia to the max, but man, does it work within the function of No Way Home, and it pulls on the heartstrings. It warms a boy's heart. I'm going to say these 2 characters are being saved for Secret Wars. Because again, everyone and their mother is going to be in Secret Wars. They're going to want to like triple the size of the portal scene and make something that makes the portal scene look like child's play, all right? So I'm going to say both Andrew and Tobey are being saved for Secret Wars just for like a really quick scene where they come in and have like, again, a Portals-esque moment just on steroids. So they'll show up in one of these 2, but they're gonna have to shell out to get both of them back. I guarantee it. And they can afford to do that because it's an Avengers movie, and in Secret Wars, who knows what the budget will be, especially if Doomsday lights it up at the box office. Moving on, we've got a group, the Guardians led by Rocket. This consists of, Cosmo, we got Kraglin in here, we got a Groot, we got Adam Warlock, a couple others. I would say there's no shot these characters are going to show up because I don't really believe Marvel wants to take on the Guardians of the Galaxy outside of James Gunn. The Guardians are James Gunn's baby, and I feel like it would be wrong to sort of continue that without him. Now, Star-Lord's a different story. We'll talk about him later in the video. But when it comes to this specific group of Guardians, you got to think as well, Bradley Cooper's probably done wanting to voice this character. A lot of those actors wanted to move on. I just think Marvel and the Guardians, they had their moment. The Guardians rode off into the sunset. Maybe they'll be acknowledged, but I'm going to say the Guardians are not showing up. I'm actually going to put them right here. I just feel like there's no shot. But, you know, I'll put them at the top of no shot, actually. Just because, I guess, of the characters there, you know, if she's actually retired from acting and these are the street level characters, the Guardians could feasibly show up, I guess, because they're somewhere out there in the world, but no shot in the long run, frankly. Moving on, we got She-Hulk, a character who, you know, headlined a television show. One of the worst, maybe the worst of the MCU Disney Plus shows in my mind. I would say She-Hulk being in Doomsday is not off the table because there was some leaked concept art. I won't reveal too much that, you know, showed some certain Hulk characters, and maybe she was involved. That's all I'll say. So I'm going to say, I'm kind of leaning that being Secret Wars more than anything, but She-Hulk, I'll go saving for Secret Wars with She-Hulk. I'll put her at the back right here of that category, because I don't know. After hearing all the cast that was announced, where would She-Hulk fit in? I just don't have a good idea of that. Moving on, though, we got Thunderbolt Ross, who we saw in Brave New World. He was Red Hulk. He's on the raft right now, if I remember correctly, at the end of the movie. And I think Thunderbolt Ross is going to be in Thunderbolts. I want to say, at least. I think I saw that reported somewhere. It would make sense. Will Thunderbolt Ross show up in the Avengers movies? I feel like they're going to want to have some way to get Red Hulk and Hulk in a Secret Wars level shot, so I'll go saving for Secret Wars. He could show up in Thunderbolts, but I feel like Harrison Ford, big budget as well. You know, you got to think he's such a big name actor. You'd go saving for Secret Wars. I would, at least. I'll put him in the back of that category because they're going to want to have a Red Hulk and She-Hulk all together with 3 Spider-Men and Wolverine and all these other Marvel characters. They want to make it like the most iconic Marvel shot of all time, if I just had to guess here. So I'll put him in that category for now. Moving on, though, we've got Monica Rambeau, kind of tying a knot on the whole Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel discussion. Monica Rambeau was with that trio, but she ends up in another universe at the end of the Marvels. There's a post-credit scene where she is with Beast, Kelsey Grammer's Beast, who is confirmed to be in Avengers Doomsday. So there's a 100% chance Monica Rambeau is going to be here as well. I wouldn't be surprised if that post-credit scene is a little snippet of a scene that's continued in Avengers Doomsday. That actually might be the most important connecting piece between, like, Earth 616, the main MCU timeline, and the Fox X-Men, at least in this specific instance. We know Deadpool and Wolverine, that's a different topic for later in this video. I'm going to say Monica Rambeau will 100% be in this cast because she's going to be with Beast. And she might actually be the character who bridges the gap between the X-Men and the main MCU timeline, at least that version of the X-Men. I'm going to say 100% joining the cast for Tiana Paris as Monica Rambeau because she's with Beast the last time we saw Beast, so it would only make sense we get some sort of follow-up to that post-credit scene. Moving on, though, we've got America Chavez, played by Xochitl Gomez, who appeared in Multiverse of Madness, Dancing with the Stars champion right here, ladies and gentlemen. I just don't see a role for her. I feel like they would save her for like a Secret Wars type movie, so I'm gonna say even then, though, I don't know. This is a character where the ship might have sailed with Marvel. Could have been like a one and done. I'm not saying, you know, she's never going to show up again, but I kind of feel like there's no shot she's going to be in Doomsday, and even then, are they saving her for Secret Wars? I don't feel like they're one where she's like, oh, we got to save her. I'm saying no shot to America Chavez being in Doomsday, and a slim shot she's even in Secret Wars. So I'm going to put her right here in terms of, you know, the no shot category, just because I feel like, you know, Marvel forgets about some characters, and that might be one of them, of the new era post-Endgame. Moving on, we've got Hulk, Bruce Banner. Look, this character is another one of the mainstay OGs of the MCU. Say what you will about what they've done with him over the years. I mean, he definitely was a stronger character to me in the earlier phases, specifically like Age of Ultron, Ragnarok. Now, I'm not too crazy about him, especially in She-Hulk. He was whatever to me. You gotta think Bruce Banner, one of the smartest minds in the MCU, one of the OG characters. You gotta think that Banner's gonna show up. I'm going, yeah, Mark Ruffalo's gonna join this cast, so I'm gonna put him actually at the top for now. You just have to think Bruce Banner in an Avengers movie, you gotta have it. You gotta have it, you know? He played such an integral role in the time travel element of Avengers Endgame, you know? Such a smart mind. He's got to be included in some way, shape, or form. Even if they don't announce it, he could be one of those surprise characters who shows up, but it'll be more than a cameo. Next, we have Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver. Rest in peace. You didn't see that coming. I'm gonna say no shot. The MCU's had multiple opportunities to bring this character back. It would have been in WandaVision or Multiverse of Madness because of the direct tie to Wanda, and and she's dead right now. So I'm going to say no shot Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver shows up. I'm going to put him actually all the way back here. Just no way. They've moved on from that character. I think he's moved on from the MCU. Would it be cool to see? Absolutely. But if anything, it would be like a Secret Wars appearance, not a Doomsday appearance. Moving on, though, we've got Wong, who I feel, again, another one of those important characters. And the more I sit here and kind of think through what we've seen in the MCU with Wong, and then I see that picture of Banner, I'm like, wait a second, there was a Shang-Chi post-credit scene with both of them and Carol Danvers involving Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, he's confirmed to be in this movie. Carol Danvers, probably going to be in this movie. Could that post-credit scene, could they rewrite it in a way that directly ties to the events of Doomsday and Secret Wars? They probably could recontextualize that, I'm sure. So I'm going to say Wong is 100% joining the cast. Look, I'm going to put him up there right now. Wong is another one of those characters who really important, and he's got ties to so many other characters now, like say a She-Hulk, or even, like I said, Shang-Chi. He's going to show up, even if it's just in the last act. Wong will be in this movie, okay? He will be. Next, we have Kate Bishop, played by Haley Steinfeld, the new era Hawkeye. I love her so much. One of the best characters post-Endgame for sure. Looking at this tier list, I say she was in a post-credit scene of the Marvels with Miss Marvel, kind of setting up maybe a Young Avengers type thing. But I would say, if anything, maybe a cameo. Maybe her and, Hawkeye are together for some reason. I'll put her right here, maybe a cameo. Kind of tease them up to show up in Secret Wars maybe. But even then, I feel like those two characters, a cameo at best. Next, we got Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, one of the OG presences in the MCU. I mean, just been around since the post-credit scene of Iron Man. Last time we saw him, I believe, was Secret Invasion? Yeah, I think Secret Invasion and the Marvels were the last two projects we saw him in. I don't know if he even serves as big of a role anymore. You gotta think there's a good chance Nick Fury's gonna show up, though, especially because of his ties to Carol. I would say there's a good chance he's going to show up. I'll put him like right here. It feels right. Avengers, Nick Fury, it's kind of the argument I have for Hulk. Like an Avengers movie without Hulk or without, Fury, it feels a little weird. So I feel like he's going to show up most likely, but I'm not going to be 100% with that answer. Next, we have Ironheart, who actually has a show coming out in June. So we don't know what that show is going to entail. We don't know how it's going to end, but we've seen her in Wakanda Forever. And so because of that, I'm going to say there's really no shot she's showing up. She's got a TV show coming out. A lot of the Disney Plus characters who've already had established shows, I'm not even confident in joining these two movies cast. So it's hard to feel too confident about a character who's showed up once in Wakanda Forever and has a TV show coming out in June that's kind of been on the back burner for a while. Like, this thing was supposed to come out years ago, I thought. I'm going to say no shot for Ironheart. I'll put her, like, right here, probably. I'll actually go right here, if I'm being real, because Bernthal and Kingpin, I love them, but they're not showing up. Marvel's more focused on getting her show out right now. Now we got a big one here. We got Chris Evans as Captain America, as Human Torch, as an evil Steve Rogers. Who knows? But there were reports a while ago, about a month or so ago, that he had been cast in Avengers Doomsday. Nothing was ever confirmed by Marvel. I believe Chris Evans himself actually denied these reports. So we don't know what to make of it. It's all one big Marvel mystery, okay? It's like when Andrew was being asked about No Way Home and he denied it, but he showed up. It's typical. So there's a good chance he's going to show up, but I'm feeling like he's going to have a cameo role. I'm going to put him at top of maybe a cameo because I feel like he's going to have a similar amount of screen time as, say, he did in Deadpool and Wolverine as Human Torch. A quick little cameo, maybe a minor supporting character. Even then, we could just see a variant of Captain America for like 2 minutes, right? But I don't think Chris Evans as Captain America, there's not room for him in any way, shape, or form to be a main character of this movie as of right now, unless this movie introduces some like evil variants of all the original Avengers. In that case, he could be, a right-hand man of Doom, for all we know. Say Doom is like got this evil Avengers squad assembled. That would be pretty sick, but I would say maybe a cameo for Chris Evans, but I'm not 100% on him being there, despite the reports. Maybe a cameo is where I'm at with that. Next, we have Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm talking about both of them together because they just had their $1.3 or $1.4 billion movie come out last year. Awesome movie, by the way. I want to believe they're both going to be in this movie. You got to think with all the X-Men coming in, I'm almost going to say with 100% certainty Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are going to have at least a scene together because there's so many X-Men variants. Like, you got to imagine they're going to be in this movie. You can't have, Magneto, Professor X, Cyclops coming in without having Deadpool and Wolverine. I feel it's a really big missed opportunity. So I'm going 100% we will see Deadpool. I'm actually gonna go at the top, and Wolverine. They will both be in this movie. As I watched through the live stream when Marvel was announcing the names via director chair, I was like, every time, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, they're gonna show up. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. They never showed up, but those could be some of those supporting characters that they're saving to be a surprise in the movie, or they could be, announced later on. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Ryan Reynolds dropped a video on Twitter, now X, where he and Hugh Jackman announce the remaining cast. It's something we've seen them do before. Marvel's going to want to capitalize on the success of Deadpool and Wolverine. What better way than to bring the two faces of that movie into an Avengers movie? It just doubles the chances of it doing even better at the box office. So I think it makes sense, especially with all the X-Men coming in, that these two characters prominent in the X-Men universe would be in the movie. Moving on, we've got Moon Knight, a character who we have not seen since his show's conclusion in the spring of 2022. When that season came to an end, I said, honestly, that might be the end of Moon Knight. We may never see Moon Knight again. And people came at me left and right. What are you talking about, you moron, you idiot? Now, I'm not saying I never want to see him again, but it's been 3 years. There's been no movement on a season 2, no movement on him appearing in any other projects. Oscar Isaac seems to have moved on. Marvel might have moved on. I feel like there is no shot Moon Knight will show up. I feel as though Moon Knight was almost this contained MCU story removed from the rest of the universe in a way that it doesn't even fit in logically with most of the other MCU projects. I would say, back of no shot, I go right here, that Moon Knight showing up in Doomsday. I would be stunned if we saw this character. It'd be cool if he showed up, but I've accepted that Moon Knight probably no more in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Speaking of the character who's no more, at least for now, that would be Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff herself. She's dead, or we're supposed to believe she's dead. There's no way she's going to be gone forever. She's going to come back in some way, shape, or form. I'm going to say they're going to save her return for Secret Wars, though, and it could be a variant of her. I don't think she's going to be in Doomsday, but Secret Wars, Wanda feels right, so I'm going to put her right about here in Secret Wars. I feel like they want to save her big return for that movie because they're going to do some mad, insane things in Secret Wars. And bringing back Wanda Maximoff, the leader, or should I say the headline character of the most popular MCU Disney Plus show, at least in terms of a week-to-week discussion, they're going to bring her back in Secret Wars. Moving on, though, we've got the Eternals. And I didn't want to single out individual members, and so I just grabbed an image of the poster here, and it's whoever's alive from the Eternals. I mean, I don't think the Eternals are ever going to see the light of day in the MCU again, and because of that, I'm just saying no shot. I'm putting them right all the way back here, all the way right there, because you know what? A lot of those actors have moved on. It'd be too expensive to pay them, and Eternals didn't do well at the box office. I think the MCU has recently said they've halted any progress or production, rather development, on an Eternals sequel. So it's I know there's a lot of Eternals loyalists out there, but unfortunately, guys, let's be real here. I think we're done with the Eternals. I think we're done. And it sucks because I am a completionist and I'm damn, I want everything to perfectly interconnect in the MCU, but sometimes they just got to let it go. And I feel like Eternals is one that they're just letting go. So I'd be stunned if we ever saw any of the Eternals show up in the cinematic universe again. Next, we got Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch himself. Doctor Strange has to be in this movie. It could be for 2 minutes. Stephen Strange, again, one of the most brilliant minds, one of the most powerful characters in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, 100% joining this cast. If Wong's here, Doctor Strange is here. I'm putting Strange all the way up there. He's going to be in this movie because he's got to play a role in Secret Wars. Also, will the post-credit scene of Multiverse of Madness with Cleo, will that ever mean anything? I don't know. We've gotten away, at least the MCU has gotten away from having meaningful post-credit scenes, so redeem themselves. They need to rectify that with many of the, phase 5 or 4, whatever the hell, post-credit scenes. But Stephen Strange, 100% joining the cast. We'll see you there, Benedict. Next, we got Emilia Clarke's Gia, I believe that's the character's name, Secret Invasion character. The only reason I included her on this list is because by the end of that show, she has everyone's powers. Thanos, everyone, I'm pretty sure. So she is overpowered as hell, but I don't know where she is. I think she just, disappears at the end. I highly doubt the MCU is ever going to acknowledge this, so I feel like I got to put this in no shot. The MCU kind of wants to erase that from ever really happening, but it's canon. It's out there. She's extremely powerful, and no one really even knows she exists if you want the truth. So, I'm going to put this all the way back here. Would be stunned if Emilia Clarke showed up, I think that the Eternals have a better chance of showing up than her. They're going to move on from that and act like it never happened because Secret Invasion, borderline disastrous when it's all said and done. Moving on here, we've got Jean Grey, the OG Jean Grey from the X-Men trilogy. I said it about Storm. I'm saying it about her. I feel like they're going to bring her back in some way, shape, or form. You got Marsden as Cyclops. Go ahead and bring back Storm and Jean Grey. I'm going to put her right here next to Storm. I just feel like they're going to want to get as many of those X-Men back as possible. Some they're going to confirm, some might be surprises, some might be quick cameos, or even, repurposed footage. But in some way, shape, or form, this character will appear, in my opinion. I am mighty confident in that. And staying in the world of X-Men for these next two, we've got McAvoy and Fassbender as Charles Xavier and Magneto. My personal favorite iterations of the characters in live action. I'm aware that's a pretty hot take, but we already have the older versions of these characters. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, they're confirmed. They were on the back of director's chairs. They're going to be in this movie in Doomsday. What if we got these two in here? It might be a bit of a rehash of Days of Future Past to have the old and new generations combined again, so they might want to, let it ride off in the sunset. As much as I want to see this, it'd be big for the budget, and also these actors have kind of moved on from these roles. They've completely separated themselves from them in a way. I mean, unless they really got paid fat and there was a good story to tell, they wouldn't want to do it. So I'm going to say there's no shot these two are showing up. As much as I want them to, it's just really unrealistic. So I'm going to put them like right back here in terms of no shot. And Wasp will remain at the back because I think the actress is retired, to be honest. But yeah, those two, no shot. Moving on, we got White Vision. I feel like White Vision might be saved for Secret Wars because they are doing a Vision Quest show that could actually come out before Avengers Secret Wars. So I don't think this character is going to show up for the first time since WandaVision in Doomsday. But if that TV show does come out before Secret Wars, it could make sense to have this version of Vision show up in Secret Wars. So I'll go like right here at the back of saving for Secret Wars, just because, again, that TV show, you'd imagine Marvel's going to want like everyone and their mother in Secret Wars. But even then, we'll see. I feel like some of the characters down in no shot might not even be saved for Secret Wars. Like, I don't know if Punisher, Daredevil, and Kingpin will even be in that movie, so we'll see. Next, we got Echo. I feel like Echo, another character that the MCU kind of wants to just forget about, move on from. I'm going to say Echo, no shot to show up in this movie. I'll put her right about here, I guess. Honestly, Echo has a better chance of showing up than, we'll put Echo right there. Next, we have Rhodey. Rhodey, I feel like might have a cameo in some way, shape, or form because he is, like Iron Man's right-hand guy for a lot of the time, but I'm kind of done with Rhodey after Secret Invasion. I think a lot of us are, but I feel like Rhodey is one of those characters who could totally have like a really quick cameo scene. It could be like on a conference call, but Rhodey will probably show up in a cameo, so I'll put him like right here, but you never know. I feel a little iffy on that. Next, we got Haley Atwell as Captain Carter, I believe another one of those actresses who was reported to be in this film, but nothing was confirmed. And I'm kind of done with Captain Carter. Not kind of, I am. We saw her in What If a bunch. We saw her in live action Multiverse of Madness. Let it rest. Let it rest. No one's asking for this character. We're good. I'm going to say that she will show up somehow. She's reported to show up. It would make sense if we're doing this, heavily relying on the multiverse plot, that she would be in there somewhere. I'm going to say maybe a cameo for Captain Carter, kind of like her role in Multiverse of Madness. Moving on, we've got Wiccan, aka Billy, son of Wanda, who is played by Joe Locke in Agatha All Along. This character is going to return eventually, but I feel like they're going to have more to do with him in Secret Wars. So I'm going to put him there because I got his mom there and I got Vision there. We're going boom, Secret Wars for Wiccan. Also, at the end of Agatha, they kind of set him up to be finding his brother Tommy, so we got to see a continuation of that somehow. They could, maybe address that in Secret Wars, but even then, him showing up in Secret Wars kind of feels like the thing they're going to do. Next, we have Star-Lord. I'm going to say right now, Chris Pratt's Star-Lord probably going to show up in this movie. I'm not 100%. Got a really good feeling Chris Pratt Star-Lord is going to show up. If you've seen that interview clip of Chris Pratt on the red carpet, I believe it was the Electric State. He was asked about working with the Russos again, and his publicist pushed him on, he's got to go really quick. He can't say anything about it. Kind of a dead giveaway. He's going to be in one of these Avengers movies. Star-Lord will return. Remember, we saw that at the end of Guardians 3, the credits. So Star-Lord coming back. They know that much. He was in some leaked concept art. Was that Secret Wars? Was it Doomsday? I don't know. I think he's going to show up. Pretty good chance he's going to show up. I'm going to put him like right here, actually. They wouldn't have put that message at the end of Guardians 3 for nothing. So Star-Lord, he's coming back. It could be at the end of Doomsday. It could be in a post-credit scene, but he will be in this movie. Pretty good chance. Not 100%, but pretty good chance. Next, we have Okoye. At one point, I think was going to headline like a Wakanda show for Disney+, but I believe that's since been scrapped. I'm going to say Okoye. We got M'Baku in this movie. We got Shuri. I'm going to say there's a good chance Okoye is also going to show up. That might not be one of the names that they announced, but if you got M'Baku and Shuri and Namor, why not have Okoye join that as well? I'm going to put her in good chance they show up. Probably even over Nick Fury. Like, why wouldn't she? Honestly, maybe let's go higher. You got M'Baku in there, and again, Shuri and Namor, so why not Okoye? Next, we have Cassie Lang, played by Catherine Newton. Ant-Man's in the movie. Would Cassie Lang be there as well, his daughter, or would this be a one-man job for Ant-Man? Cassie Lang, probably a cameo, because I think maybe she could show up in a real quick scene with Scott before he goes off, but yeah, maybe a cameo for her. I'll go like right here and maybe a cameo because her dad's in the movie, so there's a fighting chance for her already, but I feel like it's going to be more about Ant-Man instead of her, but maybe I'm wrong and she shows up and has just as much screen time as Ant-Man. And then rounding out this list, we got Matt Murdock's Daredevil, currently the star of Daredevil Born Again, played by Charlie Cox. I love me some Daredevil. He's no Punisher and Kingpin. He is the main character, so that automatically, I think, puts him a bit of a higher up tier because Marvel would love to have him show up with Spider-Man on the big screen. That's a dream come true for everybody, right? He did show up in No Way Home. Punisher, Kingpin, they were never going to do that, but he showed up in No Way Home, so I can't just put him in No Shot. I know that he is like a street-level guy, but he's a lawyer. Could he be involved in something? I think, honestly, he could have a cameo, much like he did in No Way Home, so I'm going to put maybe a cameo for Daredevil. Right about there, actually, we'll go, because you got to think, it could be so cool to have him in a really quick scene with Spidey. Imagine him with all three Spideys. Come on. He had the connection to Peter Parker in No Way Home. Maybe he could actually have a scene with Spider-Man while he's suited up as Daredevil. That would be like one of the shining lights of this movie, the talking point. It would be incredible. So please, please make that happen, Marvel. But that's going to do it for the remaining cast predictions for Avengers Doomsday. Let me know in the comments down below your predictions for what remaining cast will be added to this film. And of course, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if you want to fill out your own tier list, I'll have the tier link down below where you can fill it out. Let me know if it works, because I've never really done that much. I did it on the last video, so let me know if that one worked too. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it as always. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.